Okay, so let's talk on WebSocket. Sometime whenever we are designing our application, uh, where our client are going to communicate with our applications, our system, generally they are connecting over the HTTP request. So that kind of request is good for some case, but many applications where our communication between the our client our and our server can be required bi-directional communications. Okay, so those scenario that means quickly update, maybe chat or maybe live streaming, or where the sharing the common dashboard where the multiple clients are going to communicate simultaneously. So in those scenario we have to think some different communication instead of one-way communication. Why not we can think about the bi-directional communication. So in the applications where you bi-directional communication required, that means key server send a request and client also, whenever client have a data, client can also update our clients. So both way communication, the case where the WebSocket help us. Okay, so as a definition, WebSocket is a kind of again communication protocol, but this is a bi-directional communication protocol. That means key this is the client and this is the server. uh, Client maybe connect with the server, and whenever server receives some data from the any event, that can push data to the client. Maybe this server connected the multiple client, client 1, client 2, client 3, like chat or messenger or video calling, yeah, sharing system, where the this client are going to send those change data to the every client. That means our server also communicate to the client and client also communicate to the server. So somehow we need a bi-directional and real-time communication. What happened? Let's this is a one chat, and in this chat server, multiple uh, customer or client associated. If let's say I type some message hello, so this message go to the every client device associated. So whatever the mobile you connected, whatever the mobile you connected, whatever the mobile you connected, so what are the mobile you connected, so our one client sends some message, and this message is sent by our to the every client, you can say. So where such a scenario, this WebSocket help us to make the uh, real-time communication. The WebSocket is a bidirectional and real-time communication protocols that allow efficient and low latency communication between the our web browsers or a client or a server over the web. So generally, this web, as I mentioned, WebSocket, this is generally nowadays mainly applications are customer using the browser web. So our browser can directly make a WebSocket connection, and from WebSocket they receive data from the server and also push data to the our client as well. And even this is the WebSocket also enable our server. Now server can push data to the client without a client having a request it. Sometimes our server, okay, hey, this is the our mobile application or mobile application tool, our web server one. The some request may be received from the particular client. Maybe this client is not requested anything, but still they can send some push data to the client as well. So here WebSocket enable server can push data to the client without client having requested it. Okay, it's allow more efficient interactive web application communication. But there are two kind of communication. One is the your server, another client. Okay, so client. So client can request, hey, I need the data. The one week client first request and then server response. It generally happen. This is the request response kind of thing. Sometimes, hey, I don't ask if you have anything for me. without I'm asking, I'm not going to request you. Just I am connected with you, and every message come for me, every data come for me. Let's you send me without my request. Let you send me without my request. So this WebSocket help us give the chance to server can update is many number of client, maybe multiple mobile device, or multiple web application connected to the server, connected to the particular device, and our server can able to send data to the multiple client without client requested those data. So this is known as a there are two kind of communication, or push communication and pull communication. Okay, I am going to ask, hey, you give me data. Someone say, no, don't worry, I'll whenever I have data, I'll pull you. So this is a pull and push communication happen. So WebSocket make server more utilized. Don't wait, client is just requesting some data, then you are going to update. Instead, server identify, hey, new message, new data, some state change where these client can be interested. So the real-time communication happen with the WebSocket communication. So these are some basic concept in the WebSocket we should aware. WebSocket work on the basis of connection. So first, very important, whatever the server we have and whatever the clients, whatever the web client, whatever the mobile client, whatever they are going to the make some connection establishments. Our server know, hey, this is the my client. So WebSocket connection is established between the client, usually web browsers or a server. So first happen, the server and client are connected, and once connection happen, whenever then the message means your data, whatever the informations client are interested, are for client, server decided, hey, this information might be needed to the client. So the message is the unit of data that is sent between the client and server on the WebSocket connection. So which are the WebSocket connection established? On these connections, the message are sent by the server to client, client to server. Generally, sometime we talk about the frame. Frame is nothing, just a format of transmitting data message over the WebSocket. WebSocket, what the message you receive from the client have a specific message, like audio, video, something. So these messages are going to convert it to specific frames so that those frames can easily travel over your WebSocket connection. And these connections happen with the base of handshaking. First, make one handshaking. Initial process of establishing the WebSocket connection with the HTTP over request and response. The first, always client are going to make connection with the server on the WebSocket using the handshaking. Means ki first give the proper confirmation from client and server, hey, both are properly communicated as a simple request response command. Once handshaking happen, client and server both are communicated on the WebSocket, and after that it's depend upon the client have a data send or server have some data for the client, they are going to send. And the basic architecture, if you talk simply, we have a client, we have a server, and our WebSocket. These are basic, very basic architectures. We have one client, we have a server, and sometimes many applications are you can use somewhere the WebSocket gateway. This is the optional component that can be used to manage the WebSocket connections and perform the load balancing and prove the additional feature. Sometimes instead of a single connections, we have to use the layer between the client and server WebSocket gateway. So here multiple clients can communicate and according to the server can manage. So these are the optional, but many places our web browser directly connect to the server and server can respond to you. The basic architectures like here our client. This is the first our client inform, and this is the server component. And client first going to make a handshaking initial activities in the WebSocket, and then going to make a handshaking means going to make the established WebSocket connections. One WebSocket connection happen with the handshaking, then this connection become a persistent connection and bidirectional connection. Here server have some information for the particular client, they are send the particular frame to the client. If client have some information to the same server, those frame also send over the connections. So once connection established, after that any number of data come and those are going to request it. And if you talk the simple terminology like here browser multiple browsers you can connect it with a WebSocket. So maybe our WebSocket server, they can provide the communication and the different maybe RMI connection, maybe JDBC connection, maybe email server connection, Java connection, custom connection. So any kind of connection, but generally ensure that they are full duplex. That means the bi-directional. Means this both the side data can be sent and received. So this is the TCP based connection, that is a full duplex connection, and that maybe your database server, IMP server, messaging server, or any kind of maybe stock trading, some custom applications where our WebSocket can integrate. Our means ki first our all the browser are connected to the web server, and web server are directly make a TCP communication, full duplex communication with the actual server, maybe Java based application or any third party application. So that way make a full duplex communication, bi-directional communication happen over the TCP over HTTP full duplex connection. This is the basic simple look like a way. Whatever our web browser or applications or mobile, you can say first the request come and handshaking or request happen, HTML request, then WebSocket connection establishes. If once connection is established, handshaking done, connection established, that means now our web server or our server or client both are able to push data or get data. So generally in this WebSocket, frequently let's you are subscribed or maybe some stock update or some temperature update. So whenever a server receive some temperature update or some data from the different devices, they know, hey, these browsers or these mobile apps are subscribed. We have already WebSocket connections. Let's update is the data, temperature data, wealth data, health data, any kind of data. So in this scenario, our WebSocket or server push data to the browser or client without even the customer say every time. Let's keep, every 10 seconds a particular temperatures or particular sensor data going to the change. So instead of browser say, hey, every 10 seconds give me data, give me data, give me data, give me data, so that I can refresh my page. Instead of that, our server know, I have received some information from IoT devices. Let's I update the client. I push the data to the client. I push the data to client. In this way, you can say efficient communication between the clients and server happen with the case of WebSocket. So sometime you should aware the HTTP communication and sometimes the socket communication. The same, like if you talk about the normal HTTP TCP connection, that which the server send a request and response is done. Once response done, after that connection is terminated. But in the WebSocket, this connection is not terminated until specific requests are not done by server. Hey, I want to close the WebSocket connection. Our client going to restart, our server going to restart, something happen. Those scenario, this WebSocket connection going to terminate. Else, WebSocket connection always open because our server from the lots of IoT devices, sensor devices, continuous sending data, and I want to summarize server data, and they inform to the particular mobile application, browser application, desktop application where the WebSocket connection required. So these are the sometimes in the normal HTTP connections, whatever the TCP connection happen, once data transfer done, the connection is terminated. But in the case of WebSocket, web socket connection going to terminate on the specific request, maybe client side or server side, or some maybe server going to restart something. Else, the WebSocket connection always be established between our browsers and the server, so that the server are able to push data whenever any new data, any change data come for the particular client or particular web browsers. So let's talk about simple example. Okay, so here like consider scenario, simple example like any chat application, maybe you can talk WhatsApp chat or simple message, Gmail chat, any chat. So here what happened, lots of users, let's say this is the one users, another user try to chat them. So here user send us a message from the maybe browser. Nowadays maybe talk about the WhatsApp, WhatsApp can be run on the web browsers or mobile app as well. So client send a message. So client browser send a WebSocket message to the server. So here communication via not directly via WebSocket. So here server receive some messages from and broadcast its all connected client. So the updated the real-time data. Let's keep multiple devices are connected. So here, so they are all connected to the WebSocket connection, WebSocket connection, WebSocket connection, WebSocket connection. Let's use send one message. If this is message, they know here these devices are connected. They also our server push data to the every other chat message, so that if say particular message sent by A can be received by B, can be received by C, can be received by D, the same message, because our server are responsible to push the delivery. What everyone going to connect it as a WebSocket connection. Connection is already established. Just push the data to the designated groups of the people which want to share the chats, right? So the use case scenario where WebSocket is really required, where the real-time updates required nowadays. And notice WebSocket is very useful for the application where they require real-time update like a live score, stock price update, social media feed. So these are the places where you are not doing on the mobile, you are not doing anything, something feed changes, some score changes, some stock price changes, our server push information to the client, hey, now your stock price change or something, your score change. So all kind of real times update generally WebSocket are used. Maybe live collaboration nowadays, lots of live collaborations, dashboard or screen sharing, designing document where the multiple teams are going to designing the document, updating the document, yes, share document something. So WebSocket enable multiple user can collaborate on a document or project at the real time. A particular project document, maybe here engineer, multiple engineer, architect, or can share the same document and simultaneously both directions they are going to write. So whatever the information they are write, they are going to be visible from the every clients. Similarly, nowadays, the gaming system. WebSocket are used in the online gamings to provide the low latency communication between the client and server. So here, uh, all online gamings where the quick response between the games play action everything happen. So WebSocket also in the online gaming also with whatever the live streaming or you can video calling, conference calling happen, all the live streaming, the WebSocket also used to stream the live video audio to the multiple clients, group calls, video calls. Here the WebSocket connections are very help to make a real time communication between the multiple clients. So if we are implementing our WebSocket, so by default set of benefits we can get, because our application by default meet the low latency. That means key our real-time communication established between the clients and server. And this is the bidirectional communication. So WebSocket allow the bidirectional communication between the client and server. So client can also send information, server can also push information whenever they have a specific data for a specific customer. This is the efficient communication. That means we have reduced the overhead of the request and response. This is not always need, hey, client send a request, hey, I need a data. Client said I need a data. Client said I need a data. Every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. So instead of unnecessary response sent by client and server, we can reduce them and just tell, hey, server, if any information come for particular client, you can post them. Don't wait for the customer request. And this application, WebSocket can be handled the large amount of concurrent connection, so it can be scalable as well. So there are some challenges, difficulties nowadays. Mostly, WebSocket means these are communication happen from your browsers, web or client. So many browsers currently, maybe older version of browsers, maybe WebSocket connection are not supported by the older version. So if we are really you want to this feature available, we have to request customer they can upgrade or they can use the latest version, newer versions of the browser so that the WebSocket connection between the clients and server can be happen. There is some problem with the security because WebSocket introduced the new security risks such as uh, cross-site scripting because there are lots of scripting language can be transferred between the server and the client. So we have to take care of those. While the scalability WebSocket can be a challenge to scale, especially the large number of concurrent requests, where our concurrent requests is so high, large number of concurrent, millions of concurrent, so number of web connections need to open. That will very hard to make. So connection management also is the very challenges because here all the clients are connected to the particular WebSocket server, so they have managed some lots of connection pool. Let's say they receive one particular message, they must to know, hey, these are list of connected our client, we have to post information. So somehow we have to properly manage our connection between the clients and the WebSocket. So lots of you can say technology that's help us nowadays to build a WebSocket application. Lots of JavaScript library available, WebSocket.io, yeah, Primus are popular JavaScript library that's help us to easy way make a communication between the your WebSocket. Similarly, Node.js also web framework available as Express.js, Goa.js, Happy are popular Node.js framework that support the WebSocket. Even lots of WebSocket gateways as well as some larger applications require the WebSocket gateway. Maybe you can do nginx, Apache, HA proxy are most popular WebSocket gateways as well as that help us to scale your applications. So lots of industry application. If you talk, lots of industries nowadays they are using. You can say you talk about the Facebook. Facebook is the WebSocket for the real times update, live streaming, feed update. Right? Maybe Google also use the WebSocket in the for the Google Drive. Nowadays, the Google Drive allow us to share doc, PPT, Word, and every multiple employee can work simultaneously. So these are the WebSocket where the collaboration between the sharing documents that's help. Maybe Slack is also used to the WebSocket for real-time messaging and the collaboration between the calls. And all the online gaming platform you can say talk about like such a they are online gaming platforms such as Steams or WebSocket. Because why need because they have provide the low latency communication, bi-directional communication. It helps WebSocket help us to make our real time response between the different client, different servers. So these are the some points about the WebSocket. But we, as a system design engineer, our responsibility depend upon the use case. We have to choose the multiple communication protocol. So some places, if, maybe HTTP protocol is not so fit because there are lots of high latency. So somewhere you want to very low latency and real time communication between the clients and between our server. So where the WebSocket very good choice for our engineer. We have to configure lots of client chat library available that easily make a WebSocket connection communication and server can serve the data. So please try to aware, hey, this is the communication protocol, WebSocket communication protocol that's required to real-time update, feed update, notification updates, right? Online gaming, live score update, socket stock price live update, where the very quick and real-time update you want. So these those scenario WebSocket connections are very preferred choice for engineer. So that's for the day for the WebSocket. Hope this information is helpful for you. Thank you.